You can't talk about the history of Katy without talking about the railroad, and nobody knows that better than Carol Adams. She's written not one but two books about Katy. She says Katy is where it is because of the railroad technology of the day, and it was originally called Cane Island.
It didn't develop into a full-fledged town until the railroad came. And the railroad they built this depot, actually right over there, because it's 30 miles from Houston. This became a really important stop because the steam engines could go 30 miles.
So how did Katy get its name? I mean, it's unusual to name a place after someone's first name. Well, there's two theories. The first one is that there used to be a saloon right about over there. Saloon keeper's wife was named Katy, apparently a lovely woman, very popular, and people would say, I'm going to Katy's. Well, that's one theory. The other theory is back to the railroad. You have to remember, the original line was the Kansas to Texas line, the KT line. So which story is true? Adams says she wants the saloon story to be true, but...
A nice man here, Floyd Haskett, checked this out for me and found the census records, and we found that Charlie and Katy actually came here 3 months after the post office was named Katy.
That was back in the 1890s. The railroad set about trying to entice people to come here. It was not a resounding success, and growth was slow. The Great Hurricane of 1900 practically wiped it out, according to Michael Troxley with the Katy History Museum.
Pretty much damaged every structure. I mean, it's kind of similar to what happened during Hurricane Ike.
It settled in as a quiet farming town. Troxley said it was considered the boonies back then. But in 1934, they discovered natural gas. Humble Oil put in a processing plant. When World War II hit, the plant stepped up production and the population boomed.
That actually doubled the population. It was like 400 in right before the war, and then all of a sudden, town doubles in population to 800, and that's when they decided to incorporate.
After the war, Katy basically went back to being a sleepy farming community. Sometimes farmers actually used surplus World War II aircraft to plant the rice from the air. Then came the 90s.
You should have seen it 20 years ago. It was like vast Texas prairie as far as the eye can see, except for Katy. Maybe a few neighborhoods.
The population simply exploded. It went from 80,000 to now 300,000. Now ready to have your mind blown? This once sleepy town is now bigger than Pittsburgh, and it's still growing. But can it sustain this growth?
I don't know if it's whether we can or not, but will we? Well, yeah, we will. It won't all be great. I mean, there'll be traffic, but sure, we can sustain it.
Well, eventually they will run out of places to build things. In Katy, John Donnelly, Fox 26 News.